gearbox change on a 2017 Outlander Max XT. It's an 850. This is the kit, oil change kit. It was expensive, but it had everything in it. It came with 3 quarts of the recommended oil filter, the gasket for the oil filter, and actually 2 gaskets for the drain plug for the oil, and also the drain plug for the gearbox is in there also. So that was nice, that it's all in one. You didn't have to hunt down each of those parts and buy them separately. Yes, it's expensive, but whatever. And then gear oil I bought I looked it up, recommended. Everybody's putting this instead of buying the Can-Am stuff. 75W140. For the 850, it will be about 450 milliliters. So one of these will do 2 bites, no problem. Okay, so you can see that I removed the back seat, front seat. This center console just lifts up, pulls out, and then this console here just lifts up, and you can set it aside. You'll need to do that so you can get to this screw, because this whole side piece will have to come off right here, and that's one of the screws that will need to come out. Then this back piece here, where the back seat connects to, that will have to come out so that you can remove this panel, and it's a lot easier to get the footrest out with this off. And to do that, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts in this bike. My other bike had 8 bolts. There was 2 more bolts right here, but for some reason they're not on this one. This is a 10 mil socket. Those will have to be removed, and then this rivet and this one also. So we'll quickly just do this. Sometimes the washer will stick. Make sure you grab that. Those, and then for the rivets, I find a pair of wire cutters like this work pretty well. You just slide underneath here, work it up slowly. Don't pinch too much. You don't want to snap it or cut through it. And then once it's up, you should be able to get right underneath this piece and pull it right out without having to replace them. And then this piece should come right out. The next piece that comes off is this side panel, including this back. These connect together, but we're going to take it all off as one piece. So to do so, we have a rivet here. We have a screw under here. We have a rivet here, another one here in this bolt. These ones are a little difficult to get into. Sometimes a chisel is a little easier to get in there to just work these out, just slow until you can get a hold of it. And there you go, it's out. This bolt, it's a T30 T30. That'll remove that one. And also back here, another T30. A rivet right there. And a bolt. This one's difficult to get to. It has a nut on the back side of it. It's helpful to have this another pair of hands to help you with this one. Okay, with the rivets removed, the T130 bolts removed, and the screw up here removed, this piece now should just pull up and out like this. The next step is to remove the footrest. It's also a 10 mil. There's 4 bolts here. There's nuts on the back side or underneath on this, so you'll need to get a box wrench under there or something to hold that. So there's these 4. There is no bolt, or I'm sorry, nut underneath these ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remove these. All right, with all the bolts removed from the footrest, you can see it's fairly loose at this point. So what's holding it are these clips. So this fender here connects to the footrest, and you just pull this back, pull these clips, push the clips up, the white clips, and you'll see it disconnect. Same with the front. Clips, white clips under here. They pull back, lift up on the fender, and it pulls out. And with that, this is free. And you can just work it out. It's going to catch the brake, which you flipped up over. All right, with the footrest removed, we found the easiest way to get to the drain plugs for the engine, which is right here. That's fairly easy to get to, but the one that's a real pain is the gearbox, which is right, it's hard to see it, but it's right here. And that's a real difficult one to get to. And so we found that dropping this skid plate, this plastic skid plate, made it a lot easier to get to that. So to do so, you'll need 10 millimeter socket and a 10 millimeter box wrench. And the bolts and the nuts, you'll find there's one here, one on the other side, in the same spot on the other side. There's one here, again on the other side. And then there's 2 center ones. Let me see. There's one here, and then one right here. This one back here has just a flat head to it on the top and locks in, so you don't need to get a wrench up into there. You just need to hold that down as you're loosening that bolt. A little more information about the skid plate. The skid plate does not have to come off. Just the bolts that I mentioned before, the center one, 2 sides here, and this center one, and then this will just, skid plate will hang down. Now to get to this bolt here, or to get to the nut on the top, it's difficult. And that's why the footrest has to come off first, so that you can reach your hand in from the front down into the center, and you'll be able to feel it down in there and get a box wrench on there to hold it. So with the skid plate pulled back, because when you pull this plug, it's going to make a mess, and you'll want the skid plate pulled back, and I just used a bungee to flex it sideways out of the way, and then bring the lid up, and then this is going to make a mess, and you're likely to drop the bolt every time. All right, with the drain plug for the engine removed and draining, we can move back to the gearbox, and this is the number one reason to remove the skid plate, or to pull back the skid plate, is so you can access this, which is very difficult to get to, near impossible, and it's right up through here with that skid plate there. With it moved back, you can actually reach it fairly easily. You'll need a 15 mil for the fill plug on the drain plug, for the gearbox. So with the drain plugs removed, you'll see there's a lot of metal buildup on the end. It's a magnet, and you'll have a collection of a lot of metal there. You want to make sure you clean that off really good. You're going to need a screwdriver, probably a paper towel, to pull all that gook out of there. That's for the gearbox, and down in through here, all this you want to pull out. Also, if you bought the kit here, these metal washers can be removed and thrown away, and the new ones are right in the kit. There's the metal one and the other. So next you want to remove the oil filter. This is going to be a mess when it comes out. It's going to leak a lot of oil, so throw some rags around there to catch a lot of that. And also you'll want to have your filter and the washer ready to go, so you can just swap everything and stick it right back in and try to reduce the amount of flow of oil. This is a 8 mil. This cover will just come right off, and the oil filter will pop right out. And there's the mess. Place that back on there. And then put the bolts back in. For the gear oil, it's helpful to have something to measure out. You need to put about, per the manual, it's 450 milliliters. So having a funnel like this where you can have the measurements in milliliters is certainly helpful. Also, this one has a little nipple on it that fits exactly right into the fill hole for the gearbox. So let's fill this up here. So about 450-ish. And pop the nipple here. Into the gearbox fill. And let it drain in. You'll want the plug, make sure you have the O-ring for it. So when it's done, put that back on. It's just a nylon, so not a lot of torque on that. With the new oil in and all the plugs tightened down, everything's just in reverse order. Put the skid plate back on, bolt that down, then the footrest goes in next, and then the side piece, and then finally the back here will be the last piece that will go on.